Hallelujah.
Father, we just thank you for tonight. Oh, we thank you for the Ruach Kadesh who's filling all of our homes right now, filling our lives, filling us with your mighty power. Thank you for revelation tonight as we study your Torah. We thank you, God, that we're going to see into what you want us to see, Lord, so that we can bring about your kingdom on the earth. Anoint Rabbi as he speaks tonight. I thank you, Lord, he studied, but whatever you want to say, Father, by the Spirit, just let it flow out of him tonight. In the name of Yeshua. Amen.
Amen. Well, welcome to Torah study, and we're in the Torah portion number
Yeah,
9,
number 9.
Vayeshev, and he dwelt, and you can
Mm.
see the scriptures on screen. Of course, we hope that you during the week you get you to
Yeah.
do your reading, and we make we send out the
Mhm.
Torah portions to our community usually on the first day of the week, so you have all week to
Right.
read them and study them. And so we're excited about this Torah portion. I think it's amazing. Um, so we're gonna look tonight. We're gonna focus on a lot of the hints
Mm.
to our Messiah, Messiah Yeshua. You're gonna see a lot of hints to Messiah in this Torah portion. I venture to say, Yeshua, when he was on the earth, he opens the understanding of those, on the road to Emmaus after the resurrection. He opens their understanding to understand the scriptures that were about him. It says it was about him. So now that we know that, now we just have to find, okay, where is those connections to Messiah? Whether it's in the Tanakh, the Old Testament, um, or it's with the Torah specifically, or the prophet portions, or Psalms, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. So what do we learn this week? We see Joseph 17, and he's born in Padan Aram, and he's born in like the last year where Jacob is still with Laban. He's been there he's going to be there in the 20 years. He's going to leave in the 21st year. And that's so now it's like 17 years later. So
Yeah.
you got to look at that.
Mm.
17 years have passed from the
Mm.
time he was with Laban. And now then the scripture is going to tell you Jacob is dwelling now. Now the patriarchs, they sojourned. They were like a stranger. They were like a foreigner. Even it was their land that God promised them. They didn't get to really stay there.
Hmm.
But in our Torah portion, we're learning, okay, having some time to really dwell in the land, which is amazing. And that's like our hope for everyone, that
Right.
one day we
Mm.
get to dwell in that land. So that's where our story begins with Joseph. These are the generations of Jacob, and then it jumps right to Joseph. And if you
Mm.
look at the name Yosef, of course, it comes from the word Yasef, which means to add, to increase, or to gather. But if you look at the name, it's very prophetic. Even
Mm.
the name Yosef is a
Mm.
future tense of let him add. So it's almost like every time you say Joseph, or in the Hebrew, Yosef, you're saying in the future, God will add.
Mm.
In the future, God will gather. In the future, it's like it's a future tense. It's very interesting how this name is really just prophetic,
Mm.
because this is what God is doing in the future. What is he doing? He's adding people
Yes.
into the
Hallelujah.
kingdom. He's gathering people into the kingdom. So it's just so, you could see the 3254, which is the root word. What does it mean? It means more. Again, he's going to do it again. And this is what, remember
Hallelujah.
when Rachel has Joseph, she says, and may God add again. Basically, she was prophesying there's going to be another.
Hmm.
And we know Benjamin came after Joseph. So you see add, increase, also, exceed, put further, henceforth, can continue to give. And so it's just a very rich name, very rich word. You see it a lot in the Old Testament. Um, Even in the feast days, the Sukkot feast, which is the final feast of the season.
Hmm.
Um, it's called the Feast of Ingathering, and that name came from Yasef.
Mm.
So even and it's prophetic of the final harvest, the last day harvest. So okay, we saw all those things, but we're not gonna. I don't want to spend too much long on that, but I wanted to show you something I thought was interesting tonight. And when I actually saw this, that Alyssa had pulled this out. Alyssa Aylwine, who's really like an amazing woman of the
Yeah,
Lord,
yeah.
and she did it a little different than me. But I see it's like she said, let's break out the name Joseph in the Hebrew letters, and let's look at each letter. And if you look at the first letter is a yud, which is hand, the
Mhm.
number 10. So just think about the first thing about Joseph we know is he's got to be a man of his hand. He's
Yeah,
got to be a doer. He's
right,
going to do something. And what is he going to do? He's going to connect. He's
right.
above. He's the next one. He's a connector.
Mm.
And then he's a supporter. I mean, you just think about this. This is Joseph in Egypt as well. I mean, it's like his hand is first, the doing is first, then you're connecting, then you're supporting, and
Mm.
then finally you're speaking.
Right.
And I think where Joseph got in trouble from the beginning is it kind of got reversed. He
Mm.
starts with the dreams, with the mouth.
Mouth,
And
yeah,
really, it should be that. And remember, Israel, what do they say at Mount Sinai? They get it right. It's like, we will do first,
yeah.
and it said, then we'll hear and then we'll obey. So I think it's just interesting. So again, you're going to read that for me?
Joseph, his to have a hand that connects, supports, and confirms what comes from his mouth. So Messiah Yeshua, the Good Shepherd, had hands that connected, supported, and confirmed the word from his mouth. See this in John 10:15, as the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep.
Okay. So you see, like you can see these connections already with Joseph and Messiah.
Mm,
You can see the connections there. So
mhm.
you want to read this or
Yeah.
want me to read it? Genesis 37.
Now Jacob dwelt in the land where his father had sojourned, in the land of Canaan. These are the genealogies of Jacob. When Joseph was 17 years old, he was a youth. He was shepherding the flocks with his brothers, with the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah. Joseph brought back a bad report about them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his other sons because he was the son of his old age. So he had made him a long sleeved tunic. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all their brothers, they hated him and could not speak to him in shalom. Then Joseph dreamed a dream and told his brothers, as they hated him even more.
So you have
Mm,
like 5 verses, the
mm,
first 5 verses, and you can learn so much about what's the backstory, what's
mhm,
going on, why is his brothers going to want to kill him?
mhm.
Why is there going to, and it starts right here. You can see there's a favoritism
Yeah,
going on. And I just encourage you, if you have kids, you have grandkids, you have to be, the Torah is
yeah. You have
warning
to
us
think,
tonight,
yes, yes.
warning us of the danger
Mm,
of showing favoritism, loving somebody more. Now, obviously, you might love somebody differently,
right,
or
right,
like, or their personalities. You might appreciate this one because they do this one because they do that.
right.
But to love, to show, and for to have the other brothers see, because the
Yeah,
brothers saw
yeah,
that Jacob loved Joseph more with this extra coat that he
right.
gets, and then Joseph putting his mouth first, telling him about these
Mhm,
dreams. I was like,
mhm.
all these things are, dangerous. So you can see Joseph's called a youth,
Just make
and
sure.
that's kind of like it's giving us a hint. Why is he called the youth at 17? It's letting us know it doesn't mean he won't be a great leader one day, because he will be an amazing leader.
Right.
But right now at 17,
Mm,
he's immature. He's a shepherd, just like Yeshua
yeah,
is a good shepherd.
that's good.
And then you see, just to bring this out, that you might not realize this, because the Torah doesn't say, well, who are Bilhah's sons? Who are
Mhm.
Zilpah's sons? What are their names? What do they mean? This could be a hint for us when we dig it out a little bit. So it's specifically telling you the Bible who Joseph is hanging with. Why is he not with Leah's children?
Right.
Why is he spending time? And the sages have some interesting things to say about that. Well, maybe these were the sons that were more slighted. They weren't
Mhm.
treated as good. So he's actually doing a good thing by being with them. But you look just in the Hebrew, he's with the sons of Bilhah, which is from Rachel's handmaiden. Dan, there's judgment there. There's Naphtali. There's a wrestling, or an intertwined wrestling there,
Mhm.
or a twisted wrestling. And then so you have that. And then the sons of Zilpah, which had to do with Leah, Gad. look up his name and start digging out, it actually means to penetrate something, to make a
Gosh.
gash.
Mm,
And Asher means to be straight. So you see all these things uh, in play when
hmm
he's hanging out. There's a judgment, there's a wrestling, there's something
hmm
penetrating, there's, hopefully something to be straight. And Asher, of course, can be happy. It
hmm
could turn out happy. It could be blessed. So we see Joseph brings an evil report about his brothers. That's in the Hebrew Ra Debor. That's evil speech, that's
Right,
slander, that's a bad
right,
report.
right.
This is spy language. Later in the Torah, we're going to learn
hmm
that the 10 spies that give a Ra Debor, they give this.
hmm
So this is a preview to that. So it's interesting. So we see all these things about Joseph that we mentioned all before. So the brothers obviously they saw Israel love Joseph more. They
mm
hated him. Now this is crazy. They didn't not like him.
Right.
There was a real strong hatred,
Mm,
and they couldn't talk. And this is what the Bible's telling you. There's no communication. They couldn't even speak.
mm,
Now think about it. When you have a relationship with somebody, or you had a relationship with somebody that went so bad that you're not on speaking terms, that
right.
you can't have a conversation, this is
Mm-hmm.
telling you how bad.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the Torah is helping us realize we shouldn't let the
Right.
relationships, especially with our brothers and sisters,
Mm-hmm.
get to the point where we can't speak.
Right.
Because if we can't speak, then other bad things could probably
Mm-hmm.
happen, and that happens here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Rebecca, we learned earlier, here's a pattern. Here's the backstory.
Yeah.
Rebecca, Jacob's mother, loved him more.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac, Jacob's father, loved Esau more. So
Mm-hmm.
you see, this was kind of like, it's almost like what we would call it, like in the
Familiar.
familiar spirit, in
Mm-hmm.
the bloodline, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and then the Torah goes out of its way later to it almost like calls this whole story out. It calls the
Right.
story of Rachel and Leah, Jacob and Esau out, and and the story of Jacob. You see the hint here in Deuteronomy 21. You can't prefer
Right.
the son of the loved wife. Remember, Rachel was
The loved
the
wife.
favorite wife.
Mm-hmm.
Leah was the hated wife,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not going to read it, but
Yeah.
you can see that the Torah later has to like put into a like law.
Right.
You can't
Right.
have the favorites.
Right.
You can't love the firstborn's the firstborn. You got
Right.
to give them the preference of the
Right.
firstborn. They get a double portion.
Right.
The hinting is Joseph actually had two coats. What that's what Rashi believed, and that's what the text actually says when it says they stripped him of his coat, then they took the coat of it basically telling you plain he had a double portion
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't the firstborn.
Mm-mm.
And so all these things were in
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so all these things are in play. Okay. So they hated him. They hated him even more.
And he told them the
And
dreams. Yeah.
and when it says they hated him more, it's crazy. They use a play on his word. Um, they added hatred. It's almost
Mm.
like Yosef. They hate like it's
Yeah.
just like they added hatred more. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see it in the Hebrew. But anyway, so anyway, let's move on here because you can see from these scriptures, Genesis 30:24 and Genesis 37, you can see the language connection between his name and adding.
Mm.
So she called his name Joseph, and the Lord shall add to me.
To
And
me.
then
Yeah.
he told the dream, and they hated him, but it's a word they added
Added,
hatred more.
added
I mean,
hatred.
it's like they
Yeah.
were like piling on this name. So this name can mean something amazing,
Right.
good,
Right.
but here it's getting a little twisted.
Mm.
Okay, so look,
Genesis 37:8, and his brethren said to him, shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words.
and that's like, and the more was that word Yasef, and they like added, like it's
Mm.
like crazy. They added hatred, but it's a play on his word, and it's a lot of that goes on in this Torah portion. So why do they hate Joseph? Two things we learned. I mean, of course, of the coat. The father loves him, but now we also learn they hated him for his dreams
Right. In his
and
mouth.
his words. Okay, so
Mhm.
it's like, okay, so now look what Daddy says, Genesis 37:11.
So his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the speech in mind.
So let's look at okay, they knew that he's loved more. Then he has these dreams. He speaks it to him, and all these dreams are basically showing the brothers that they're somehow going to bow to him.
Right.
Even mom and dad are going to bow to him. And now you're adding on top of that jealousy, kana in the Hebrew. They're envious. It's
Right.
exactly, if
Right.
you look at Messiah, why is he delivered to the corruption of the priesthood?
The same reason.
It says they delivered him for envy. Envy. They
Right.
were jealous. It's like
Right.
you cannot make this up.
Right.
How Joseph is a picture of Messiah. Now, tying that in, his father kept the speech in mind. In the Hebrew, it's the word shomer
Mm.
dever. He guarded the word. His father guarded the
Mm.
word. He rebuked remember he rebuked Joseph. What are you dreaming about? What
Right.
are you
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
But he guarded the word.
Right.
He's almost like he's got to watch over it. There's something to this dream.
Right.
You know,
Well, he's a dreamer. Yeah.
okay, now, yeah, and he was right, dad's a dreamer,
Yeah.
right? Look in Luke 2:19. You cannot make this up.
But Mary kept and guarded all these things and pondered them in her heart. Same thing.
The angel comes to her, speaks about the child that's going to be
Right.
born to her, and you can see the correlation.
Yeah.
She's guarding. Jacob's guarding. Okay,
Right.
it's like
Right.
right. So you can see this escalation. And I
Yeah.
was thinking to myself, and just think about this tonight. Can we really blame the brothers for how they felt about Joseph? With
Mm.
all that
Yeah.
backstory,
Yeah.
there's some truth to what
Yes.
their feelings. It's like
They're human.
you're human. You
Yeah.
can't make yourself,
Right.
feel something that you feel it because all these things are showing you, and so this is why they're going to take some action
Right.
against their brother. And in a way, they're thinking, well, he's not worthy of the firstborn. Look, he's
Right.
immature. Look what he's doing. And it's almost like they're, and some commentaries will actually say, well, we know we have a history where there were brothers that didn't live up to the name of our family. Who's one of them? Esau.
Right. Right.
He's out of the family.
Right.
Ishmael.
Right.
He's out of the
Right.
family.
Right.
Cain. He's out of the
Right.
family. So
Right.
it's just like, it's not like they don't have a precedent for
Right.
saying, okay, this one doesn't, dad's not going to do anything, but we got to get this guy. He's going to mess up the family.
Right. Huh.
So let's
Mm.
go ahead and read this.
Why does Jacob now want to send him to Shechem to spy on his brothers? Doesn't he know how all the brothers feel about him? He's sending Joseph all alone to a dangerous place of blood. Shechem is where Levi and Simeon killed all the males when they took Dinah.
Okay. So
Hints. We're having hints
you
here.
having hints. And when
Hmm.
I'm saying, did he send him to spy? He says, check. He says, bring back word. Bring
Yeah.
back a divar. Bring
Right.
back a divar. How
Are
do
they
they have
doing?
shalom?
Right.
Okay, Joseph was definitely not the one to check on their shalom. He couldn't even have any speech with them. But maybe his father sending him out in a prophetic way that Messiah is to bring somehow shalom
Hmm.
to the brothers that are estranged. And
Right.
just think about how
Yeah.
this is the work of Messiah.
Right. Right.
And even though he's immature, maybe Jacob is thinking, well, let me give him a shot. Let me send him to Shechem. I know it's crazy that you would send him to this place all alone. But it's not like Jacob didn't know that the brothers felt this way. I don't think he had to know.
Yeah.
So there must be something prophetic
Hmm.
happening behind the scenes, okay? And now let me show you some of the prophetic things. You can see the language here. Genesis 37:12.
Then his brothers went to graze their father's flocks at Shechem. Israel said to Joseph, aren't your brothers grazing the flocks in Shechem? Come, let me send you to them. Here I am, he said to him.
Okay, so the first thing I want you to see is you're seeing not Jacob the name Jacob in the
Mm,
sending, you're seeing Israel in the sending. So anytime you see the Israel, it's more his higher spiritual status. Remember, we talked about that
mm,
name Israel, the contender with you're gonna overcome. You're gonna overcome with God.
right.
You're gonna overcome man. You're gonna be an overcomer. And then so that's one of the hints. But the other hint, let me send them, send you to them. And in Hebrew, um, Joseph says Hineni. Where have we heard a Hineni? Here I am. So when God tempts Abraham in Genesis 22, Abraham responds to God,
He named me.
Hineni, here I
Yeah.
am. You could see it's almost like Joseph is being sent or on a mission. It is a kind of like a temptation because we don't know what's going to happen. It's a test in a well. It's a test. God tested Abraham. Abraham said, Hineni. Now Joseph is being tested. He says,
Mm,
Hineni. Okay. So, and it was like when God said Abraham, he said Hineni. Isaac is the
right.
type of Messiah. Jacob said Joseph, he said Hineni. Joseph's the type of Messiah. So that's and later even Jacob will use that same language. So let's read this.
And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. The first altar Abraham ever, of course, erected was in Shechem.
Okay. So does he really need to know how these flocks are?
Mm,
It's like they're experienced shepherds. They've been doing it all their life. Does he really need to know? Like they never were on a going to feed the flocks before.
mm,
It just it's like
mm,
it's interesting. I think it's something prophetic going
right.
on. One of the things is look where he sends them out of. He sends them from this
The vale,
vale of
Hebron.
Hebron.
Yeah.
Hebron. What is that place? Okay, so Joseph goes to Shechem. He seeks his brothers, but the brothers had moved on from Shechem. They moved to Dothan. They moved to another place, and Dothan means law. There was this man that found Joseph wandering, looking for, he says, what are you doing? I said, I'm seeking my brothers. And the man says, they left that. And the commentators, many of the Hebrew commentators say what he was telling them. First of all, they said this man is not just a man; this man's an angel because what goes on you what goes with you on missions, angels.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he said they left brotherhood. He seeks my. They left brotherhood, and they were seeking a legal way to remove. Dothan means law. They were seeking a legal way to remove Joseph from the family.
Mm,
They wanted to kill him, and then look at Yeshua. He's taken on Passover evening. He was passed
mm,
around by the leaders who were trying to find a legal grounds.
right.
It's Dothan all over again. They're how can we get rid of him?
Mm.
He's not fitting. He doesn't fit with he's not living up to what we think, he should be. And you can see Matthew 27.
And while he was accused by the ruling Kohanim and elders, he did not answer. Then Pilate said to him, Don't you hear how many things they testify against
So
you?
think about all those were they real testimonies against him? They
Mhm.
were false. And
Right.
even Joseph, it's not going to be real testimonies against him. It's how they perceive him.
Hmm.
Yeah, in 1 Corinthians 2:7.
Rather, we speak God's wisdom in a mystery, a wisdom that has been hidden, deep wisdom, which God destined for our glory before the ages. None of the rulers of this age understood it. For if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory.
So in the
Mm,
same way, I believe God was working his hidden wisdom
yeah.
with Joseph, with the brothers. They didn't see that they were all being used by God. Later, we're going to learn that Joseph's going to say, Don't be mad at yourself. It wasn't you, it was God. It
Right,
was
right,
God's wisdom. In the same way, the they it says if the rulers of the world would have known, they wouldn't have crucified. They wouldn't have
right.
done. It's
Yeah.
like you're not going to kill your own Messiah, but it was God working that out. It's a deep wisdom.
Just, yeah.
So if it's a deep wisdom, look at the word about the vale or valley literally means the deep of Hebron. Look at it. So
Mm,
what's that all about? sent word out of him out of the H6010 of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. So you got two, the valley, valley, a vale, a broad depression, a dale, a valley, valley often used as proper names. You can see all the things that are there in this. It's a low place. It's a very low place, like a very low place. It's not. It's an emek, a veil, right? A broad, deep. Now look at this. Look at the root. This is
Mm.
what blows your mind. The root is to cause, to make deep, literally, figuratively, to have, make, seek deeply, depth, to be profound.
Mm.
There was something profound and deep going on. Look at this, like the verb to be deep. There's a
Yeah.
deep, deep thing going on in this sending. It's not by accident, like an implore earnestly from the bottom
Of
of
one's
one's
soul.
soul. I mean,
Yeah.
might, nemenku, wisdom. There's unfathomable wisdom. This is exactly Yeshua. This is
Yeah.
what's going on with
Mm.
Yosef. And these words are echoed in Psalms 92:5.
Oh Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very
This
deep.
is the root word for that
Mm.
veil.
Mhm.
God's thoughts, his works are deep.
Yeah.
And Hebron means the seat of association. It has to do with relationship.
Mm.
It has, but there's more to that. Okay. But now look at
It's
that. Look
good.
at this amazing. So H2275 from 22267. So the seat, it's an association. It's a company of people that would gather together. But look what the root of Hebron is about. A wide place, enchantment,
Mm.
a company, a charmer. This is great. There's something in Hebron. You have this almost like the atmosphere of
Right.
Hebron
Right.
had some activity going on
Yeah.
that's enchanting, charming. You said a magician.
Hmm.
So I think this is what happens. The brothers could even be picking up on things,
Right.
judging things wrong
Hmm.
because of the atmosphere of where. And so Joseph sent from this place. Look at it. It goes on a society. It's almost like a secret society, a spell.
Hmm.
There's something going on there. So that's where he's sent from. It's a place of the authority of association. I put it like this. Hebron is a place there's an authority of associations, and the authority of those relationships, associations will be influenced
Hmm.
and challenged by the demonic
Yeah.
realm of magic, charms, spells, and this is what went on when Yeshua was crucified.
Yeah.
God's behind the scene, but there's also Satan, what he puts in the heart of Judas
Right.
Iscariot to
Right.
deceive him. It's an enchantment. It's something was
Hmm.
going on, right? That they were yielding to the enemy. Of course, God's gonna work it all out for his good. So what else do we know about Hebron? In Hebron, this
Hmm.
is the place that Abraham builds this altar to the Lord
Okay.
after he gets separated from Lot, and
Hmm.
God and Abraham lifts up his eyes. He looks to the north, to the sea, south, to the east and west, and God says, "Okay, now I'm giving you all this land." And after he says, "Get up, walk through the land." And Abraham moves his tent, and where does he go? He
Hebron.
dwells in Hebron. He plants this place. He says, "I know this is a toxic place. I
Hmm.
know this is an enchanted place." But listen, we already know he's going to even put the burial
That's what
place.
I was, yeah.
This is where the
There's
patriarchs are going to be
something there.
buried
Yeah.
because, okay, so the demonic also knows.
Yes. When it's,
And
yeah.
in Hebrew Jewish tradition, even Hebron, Mamre, where the graves of the patriarchs
Hmm.
are, is said to be the closest place to the entrance to the Garden of Eden. So
Right.
it's like, of course, the enemy is going to be there, just like
Right.
you know today.
You
That's
can't
how.
even get in there today because the enemy surrounds
Right.
all of that.
So there's good and bad things that happen in this place. Sarah
Hmm.
dies in Hebron. I mean, just
Right.
okay. So Sarah's dying.
He
What you're gonna
buries her.
see, he's mourning. There's gonna be mourning there. There's gonna be weeping there. What are we gonna learn about Jacob? What's gonna happen? He's gonna
Yeah.
mourn. He's
Yeah.
gonna weep, and he says, "You can't even comfort me."
Hmm.
Okay, so Sarah's gonna be buried there. And so Genesis 35:27. This is the
And
cool
Jacob
verse.
came unto Isaac his father unto Mamre unto the city of Araba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned.
So this is where they're all settling. Man, can you
Hmm.
imagine if we could get a place there?
I
I mean, can
know,
you
right?
imagine if we could
Yeah.
get, I know that it's one day
Hmm.
we will be. So, so Hebron, read some of these things. Just say,
Abraham's altar to the Lord after receiving promise of land for him and his seed. Hebron, Sarah's death. Hebron's mourning and weeping for Sarah. Hebron, the place of sojourning for Abraham and Isaac.
so there's a
They
lot,
lived there.
there's a lot. So look at this, what Jacob says while when Joseph's, he's shown this bloody, goat. What does he say? Genesis 37:35.
All his sons got up along with all his daughters to console him, but he refused to be comforted, and he said, "For I will go down to Sheol to my son, mourning." So his father kept weeping for him.
So isn't it interesting that he says, I'm gonna go down to Sheol, right?
Hmm.
Sheol, that could be the Hades, the place of the dead, you know, the grave, the hell, like, isn't it just that he's using this language,
Hmm. Mm.
about Sheol? And I think it's like, again, it was like, if we're gonna see the
Into,
hints to Messiah, what is gonna happen when our Messiah dies?
mm.
Of course there's gonna be wheat, but look at the promise that Psalm 16 says.
For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither will thou suffer thy Holy One to see corruption.
So this is like
Mm.
one of the most amazing prophetic scriptures in the Bible about
Mhm.
Messiah. He's the Holy One. It's basically saying, and that's the word Sheol. Do not leave my soul in Sheol. Neither,
Mhm.
okay. So his body wouldn't corrupt there. He wouldn't stay there. Now, so more some prophetic things going on. So much prophetic going on in this. So
Mm.
at the offering of Isaac, God tells the angel told angel to, God told God
The
use the angel
Jesus,
Lord
yeah.
to tell Abraham, do not, like he's about to kill, remember, he's about to kill Isaac. This is like so prophetic of Messiah. Do not send your hand to slay your son. Don't kill him. Don't do anything to him.
Right.
Now, this is crazy. So, and you can see that Abram was about to do it. Don't touch the youth. And it even uses the word youth.
Youth, yeah.
Joseph is called, it's the same word for youth in the Hebrew. So, okay. All right. Now, Reuben
Mm.
uses the exact same language in his attempt to save and rescue Joseph from the hand of his brothers. Look, Judas, it's exact same Hebrew.
Genesis 37, and Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, "Let us not kill him." And Reuben said unto them, "Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and upon wait,
Lay no
and
hand.
lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him of all their hands, to deliver him to his father again."
So you can see
Mm.
it's the exact same language
Mhm.
of the binding of Isaac, which is a
Right,
picture of Messiah. Don't lay a hand. Reuben
right.
says,
Don't lay
don't
a
lay a
hand.
hand.
Yeah.
And Reuben, what he wanted to deliver Joseph totally. He wanted to bring him back to his father again. This is
Hmm.
okay. That's so prophetic because what's going to happen when Yeshua is raised from the dead? He's going to go back to his father again.
Yes,
Like this is
yes.
like the prototype. So, okay. So
Yeah.
the firstborn, he's going to stand, right? Right. He's going to stand up for Joseph.
Mm.
So Reuben hears of a plot to kill Joseph.
Mm.
Now, if you look at Messiah in Matthew 26, there's a plot to
Mm.
kill Messiah.
Yeah.
Now and it's all around Passover, we know, because right, they plotted together. They plotted in order they might seize Yeshua by stealth and kill him. They wanted to
Right.
kill him, but not during the festival. They were saying there won't be a riot among the people. So it's the same kind of thing happening. He delivers
Hmm.
Joseph. He speaks not to kill. Matthew 27:18. Then Pilate's wife, she's almost like
Yeah.
living Reuben's like she has a dream
Yeah.
about
She's telling
this
him,
plot. And
yeah,
look what she says.
don't have anything to do with that righteous man, for today I've suffered many things in a dream
And
because of
okay,
him.
look at verse 18.
For he knew that they had handed him over out of envy.
So brothers envy Joseph, Pilate sitting on the judgment seat,
Hmm.
right? remember this word judgment's really interesting because remember Joseph is actually with one of the brothers that mean judgment, Dan, when it all starts.
Hmm.
His wife said, okay, so don't do anything. What does the angel say to
Don't do
Isaac?
any.
Don't do anything to
Yeah.
him. I mean, it's like you have
Yeah.
these plan words. So Reuben said, shed no blood. Later, Judah says agrees to it. At first, they all want to kill him.
Right.
But later he agrees, don't shed blood. Let's throw him into this pit. Let's get some money for him. Reuben rescue him out of his hands at the beginning, and he wants to deliver.
Right.
He wants to, it's the word for deliver. It's the word used for God, that
Oh.
Moses used, that God has come to deliver you. It's
Mm,
the same word in
mm.
Egypt. So Reuben wanted to deliver Joseph and return him to his father. Okay, so like I said, Yeshua goes back to his father. He's thrown in a pit, an empty place with no water, hinting to the wilderness again, right? There's no water in the wilderness. We find in Israel's journey many times what? There's
Right.
no water, it's empty. Okay, there's no water in this pit. What else was that hinting to? Look in Genesis 41:27.
And the seventh then and ill-favored king that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine.
So even the empty pit is almost a picture of the emptiness that will be caused by the famine that's
Hmm.
to come. He's going to talk about it. Years later, he's going to interpret
Hmm.
Pharaoh's dream about this emptiness. Now he's in an empty pit. Okay, so empty means vain,
Hmm.
empty. Yeshua, what is he? He's put in an empty
Empty
tomb.
tomb.
He goes to a place of no water and thirst, Sheol, to bring captives into
Yeah.
freedom. Okay, so you can see in Luke 23, it says, no one had ever been lame. It was
Yes.
empty. It
It
was
was
empty,
an
completely
empty.
empty in
Yes.
Luke 23. So I'm just showing you some of those
Mm.
things. If you want to know about remember, there's no water. Remember the story that Yeshua tells about the rich man and Lazarus.
Yeah.
Look what it says, Luke 16:22.
It happened that the poor man died and was carried by the angel to Abraham's side. Then the rich man also died and was buried, and from Sheol, as he was in torment, he raised his eyes, and he sees Abraham far off, and Lazarus at his side. So he cried out and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. Send Lazarus so he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool off my tongue, because I am suffering torment in this flame.
So that it's showing you,
Mm.
okay, Abraham's bosom divided, upper and lower. There's a place where Abraham was with the believers. I'm talking about
Yeah, yeah,
pre-Messiah,
yeah.
and they have water. They have water. We know they have water. They have everything we need there. But then there's this other side of Sheol that there's torment. It's hot, and they have no water.
Hmm.
So this is the picture that of Joseph. Joseph's pit was empty. It had
No
no
water.
water.
Yeah.
It was a picture of hell, if you will. There's
Mhm.
not going to be any water there. So Judah agrees
Judah, yeah.
Judah agrees not to kill Joseph, but to sell him for profit. Now look in John 13.
While the Seder meal was happening, the devil had already put in the heart of Judas from Karat that he should hand over Yeshua.
And what did he do it for? Right? For
Money.
right, right?
And
Okay.
Matthew,
So remember the Valley of Hebron had to do with associations that were influenced by demonic activity. This is the Seder meal. This is Judas. We
mhm.
call him Judas, but it's really it's a play on the word. It's tied to the word Judah. Matthew 26:15.
And said Judah unto them, What will you give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they coveted with him for 30 pieces of
So
silver.
you see all these
Hmm.
hints, all these hints. Later, Judas says, I betrayed innocent blood.
Hmm.
Okay, you're going to see even, the brothers are going to start to regret it.
Right,
Once they
right,
go to buy food, they're
right,
going to realize this
right.
all happened to us because we heard his crying. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
We didn't listen to him. So,
yeah.
okay.
I think
So
it's Reuben who actually says that even to them. Yeah.
yeah, so Genesis 37:31.
And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood.
So if you read Revelation, I believe it's 14,
Hmm.
might be, and maybe I might have it wrong. It's in
Right,
Revelation.
yeah.
It talks
It's
about
gonna,
Messiah
yeah,
has, when he's riding on this white horse,
yeah.
what he has this coat
Yes,
dipped with
Sesh
blood.
dip, yeah.
He's telling us, the Bible is telling us that Messiah is Messiah, son of Joseph. He's
Mm-hmm.
Messiah, son of David. He's not one or the other. He's both.
Mm-hmm.
Because Joseph was the one that had the coat
Right,
dipped in blood. It was his coat, right? Okay. So Messiah's going to be wearing basically that coat,
right.
when he comes back. Okay. So look when Joseph says in Genesis 40.
I was forcibly kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing at all. I'm innocent that they should put me in this pit.
Okay. So he's innocent. This is the what we heard earlier, that
Mm,
don't touch, he's innocent. He's not done anything wrong, and he's saying, "Hey, I'm innocent. I haven't done anything wrong." Yeshua, he's
he's
innocent. There
innocent.
was no sin, right? There's no
Right, right.
guile in his mouth. So okay, so now and then he's Jeremiah actually prophesied
Mm-hmm.
about this 30 pieces of silver that this man is going to be valued at. It's so interesting. So it's actually in the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah talks about this 30 pieces
Mm-hmm.
of silver that Judas betrayed Yeshua for. Okay. But in our story, it's not 30 pieces, it's 20
Right.
pieces. There's 20 pieces of silver, and he sold, if you look at it very carefully,
Mm-hmm.
want to spend a lot of time on this, but he's basically, even though his brothers put him in the pit, it looks like from reading the actual text, and it's verified by many scholars, they say, no, we've been saying that the Joseph's brothers sold him, but they wanted to sell him.
Okay.
Their plan was to sell him. They said,
Okay.
let's sell him. Judah said, let's sell him for profit. But what happened was the brothers didn't, they saw the Ishmaelites far off, and they said, we're going to get him, give him to Ishmaelites. But before the Ishmaelites actually showed up, the Midianites saw Joseph in the pit, and then said, "No, we're going to sell him." And they sold them.
Mm,
The Midianites, which means strife,
mm,
sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites, which means God hears.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is really cool, right? And so God's seeing, but what's probably the cause of everything was the strife,
Yeah,
and he's
definitely.
sent down to Egypt. Okay, so much here, but if you, and I don't even want to spend so much time on it, but basically, and you'll see it in my notes, I just don't want to spend the time on it. The 20 pieces of silver, when you work it out between the brothers, their share, it works out that to be the same amount as the temple tax of five
Wow.
shekels.
Okay.
Like yeah, and you can
Wow.
see it. It's like you can see it. That this is
Mm-hmm.
from the Midrash. Midrash explains that the giving of the half shekel is an atonement for the sale of Joseph by his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
The brothers sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver. This is equivalent to five shekels. 10 of the brothers sold Joseph. Each one had a tenth. So it's like this is how it works out. And so later the Torah gives this law about this. Every time you count, remember you count. Anytime you're
Right.
counted, you have to give this half shekel, and then this would be like the yearly fee to maintain the shekel. But it's almost like it's a remembrance, and you always wonder, it's like, why is it an atonement? They would say the shekel is an atonement. It doesn't make, it's a covering. Well, now if you realize it, it's teaching Israel never stop atoning for what happened to Joseph. I
Mm.
mean, this is amazing. It's like we never should stop atoning for what happened to our Messiah. I mean, it's like our part in it,
Right.
our sin put him there, Okay, so anyway, so let's just move on. Okay, so, and if you look at the text, when Joseph actually gets to Egypt, um, it looks like he's sent back multiple times. Like it's almost like he's sold back and forth between the Midian, because it looks like now the Midianites have him again. I mean, it's very crazy when he
Mm,
drop him off to Egypt. I mean, it's just
mm.
crazy. So he might have been sold many times, and that's kind of the understanding.
Wow.
Um, which is like how many times is Messiah sold out? It's like the same kind of thing. Our Messiah was sold out
Right.
by many. It wasn't just one person. I mean,
Right.
anyone could
They
have.
all forsook him. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
but God had this plan
Mm-hmm.
to preserve the family of Israel. And that's why I mentioned Genesis 45. God sent me.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it's not even dad who sent me. God sent me, and people always like, we always have to remember when Yeshua, everything he did, does he love people? Absolutely. But I was talking to one of the brothers in the congregation. It's like he didn't do it because he didn't do it just because he loved us. He did it because he was sent by God and he loved the
Right.
Father.
Right.
That's the
The
key.
plan. It was
That's
the
the key.
plan.
That's the actual key to understanding the work of Messiah.
Hmm.
Because if we think it's all about him loving us,
Hmm.
then we get it wrong.
Right.
Because then we start thinking it's all about me. It's all
Right.
about me, and it's not all about you. No,
No.
it's all about pleasing the Father
That's
and the
good.
plan of
That's
the
good.
Father. Okay. So anyway, so he sent to
Mm.
this guard, or a man by the name of Potiphar. In my translation, in the Art Scroll Hebrew, it says he sent to the chief of the butchers,
Mm.
Tabak. And it's like
The cook. Yeah.
it's like okay, and it says Tabak means he's a lifeguardsman. Because he's acting also as an executioner, so he's gonna why he's not really slaughtering people. He's slaughtering animals, right?
For
But
the
it's interesting how Joseph is like going to be
hmm
in the care. It's almost like he's a sheep. He's
hmm
like under guard by Potiphar, and he's really is like a sheep in a sense, and you think about, is Yeshua the lion or is he the lamb? He's
Yes.
both,
Yeah.
right? He's like, we
Yeah.
know he's the Lamb of God, but he's also the lion. And I think Joseph is kind of the same thing.
He
God
probably
is
was, but
protecting him in a way. Go
yeah,
ahead. You
but
want to
he
say?
also was the best cook because come on, he was a shepherd. He knew how to, if any, that, and now it makes sense why Potiphar loved him so much because he was probably the best cook out of all of them.
Yeah, and if that's true, then it kind of makes sense also because they say he would have to take care of a lot of animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Joseph was a shepherd. That's the first thing we
Yeah.
learn about him.
Yeah.
So, okay, so it makes a lot of sense. So, Genesis 38, it
Mm.
looks like the story of Joseph's interrupted. It looks like it has nothing to do with Joseph,
Mm.
because now we're going to focus on the fourth son of Jacob and Leah, Judah.
Mm-hmm.
Four, now, of course, means authority. We know that the number four, it was points to authority, right? Um, and we know later, we know reading now, we know Messiah is going to come from what line?
Judah.
From line
So
of the
that's why
tribe,
it was
right?
put there.
So now, if you're just reading this story, you're not thinking about this when you're
Yeah.
first reading the Torah, but we know the end in mind. Okay, but what's happening? The Bible says Judah went down. What is
Mm-hmm.
that? So
Mm.
he's going down spiritually.
Right.
He's going down in his leadership. You see all these messianic hints. He he marries a Canaanite wife
Mm-hmm.
from the family of Shua. Shua, the word or the name Shua means to cry for help.
Mm.
And to think, okay, it's just interesting, or a cry for riches.
Mm.
And I think he's going down, but in a sense, I think he's crying for help too. He's crying for something. He's crying for destiny,
Right.
because he's supposed to be rich. He's supposed to be blessed. He's supposed to bring this messianic
Mm-hmm.
redemption, to the world eventually. He has three children from an unnamed woman. All it says is
Canaanite.
Shua's
Mm-hmm.
daughter, this Canaanite woman.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the three kids?
Which means to awaken or be alert. Onan, to be strong and vigorous. Sheila, a request or petition.
Now, to me,
Mm.
now I know there's some other translations you might can find from these names, but I think this is a wake up call. I was like, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you're having these kids. I'm trying to tell you, you need to awaken to who you are. That you need to be strong. You need to be vigorous. You need to learn how to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sheila, that's what it means to ask or petition. Sheila, the third child, which, okay, third, the number three, of course, is fruitfulness or
Right.
resurrection, born in Chezev. The root word for Kezev, and this is going to be to me, and why the Bible tells you, it doesn't tell you anything about the other sons, where they were born, but Sheila, it tells you, because the Torah wants you to know this, he's born in Chezev, and it means to lie, to deceive,
Mm.
to fail. So it's almost like
Yeah.
God's telling him, you need to be alert, you need to be strong, because if not,
Hmm.
you're going to be found a liar.
Right. And that's,
You're going to be
yeah.
a failure. You're not going to live your destiny. The
Mhm.
first two sons we know they're wicked. God kills them. Then and Tamar is the wife of these the first one, and then the second son would not carry on the name of the first one. So Judah says, "My son is going to get older. Just give him some time." But he's lying.
Hmm.
The Bible tells us plainly he doesn't give him to
Mm-mm.
Tamar because he fears his son will die the same way. Well, hey, it must be her. It
Right.
wasn't her.
Mm-mm.
We're going to see definitely it's not her. So, but something is happening that's prophetic and it's going to point to Messiah. So Tamar hears um, that Judah's going to he's like comforting himself and he's going to go shear his sheep at a certain place and where she sees and she goes
Hmm.
to meet him Judah at a place called at a patak. There was an opening. A patak is at a door. I think this woman
She
is
found.
finding a door
Hmm.
to keep legacy
Right.
alive,
Right.
right? And
Right.
it's a door at an aim, an anim. It's a double spring or a double I. Just think about it. It's
Hmm.
like that's what it's like. So it's like she's seeing prophetically, she's seeing naturally, she's putting them both together. It's a double fountain. She finds this opening. It's like you can see it in the Hebrew, a double spring. And I think, okay, and then what's going to happen out of this union is going to happen twins
Right.
because
Double.
God wants us to see both ways, not
Right.
just the spiritual, not just the
Right.
natural.
Right.
He wants us to have that double fountain, if you will. So,
Hmm.
and Tamar is believed to be a descendant of Shem. And she had her spiritual and natural eyes, I believe, working as
Hmm.
one. Okay, so she goes, she plays this harlot, he sleeps with her, right? Okay, he thinks she's okay, he sleeps with her, right? And then let's read verse 16. So he,
So he turned aside to her along the way and said, "Please let me sleep with you," for he did not know that she was the daughter-in-law. What she asked, will you give me to sleep with me? I will send you a young goat from the flock, he said, provided you give a pledge until you send it, she said. What kind of pledge shall I give you? He asked. Your seal, your cord, your staff in your hand, she said. So he gave them to her and he slept with her and she got pregnant by him. After she got up and left, she removed her veil from herself and put on her widow's clothes.
okay, so your seal is a mark. It's
Hmm.
some kind of mark. In the ancient Hebrew, it was like
Yeah.
you could seal a document,
Hmm.
you could seal a purchase. This was like your stamp,
Right.
your
Your
personal
signature.
seal, right?
Yeah.
Your cord meant to twine, but it's like really coming from that same
Mm.
struggling word, the struggling word. Okay, so it's a wrestling word. It really is a wrestling word. And then. But it's also an identity. It's a
Hmm.
way to identify this is my chord. It identifies whatever I need to with me,
Hmm.
right? And then the staff is your mate. Okay, your mate is your tribe. Okay, your ruling scepter and all that. Okay, so the Midrash brings out this. It says your seal, your shotam alludes to royalty.
Mm.
Right? Okay. You are Judah, you are a seal on my right hand. Your cord, Patil, alludes to the Sanhedrin, as it says, and that they shall put on the tassel of each corner a cord, Patil of blue. So
Mm.
this is government ruling, right? Your
Yeah.
staff alludes to Messiah King. I mean, this is great Psalms 110.
Hmm.
The Lord will stretch forth the long scepter, the Matea from Zion, saying, rule in the middle of your enemy. So it's just like, okay, so these are, but he gives them to her,
Hmm.
right? He tries to, he pledged a goat. He sends the goat by his funky friend. The
Yeah.
funky friend can't find her because she's not a prostitute. And 3 months later, he's told, okay, your daughter, is
Daughter-in-law is
pregnant.
pregnant. Yeah.
And she comes out and she sent word to her father-in-law saying, I'm pregnant by the man to whom these belong. Then she said, look,
Do you not recognize whose these are? The seal, the cord, and the staff. Then Judah recognized them and said, "She is more righteous than I, since I didn't give her my son Shelah. He was not intimate with her again."
okay, so through this union,
Mm-hmm.
There's a preservation of the line of Judah. You think
Yes.
about the
Yes.
line of Judah was not moving forward
Mm-mm.
at all. But
Right.
here, this Tamar comes along, and I believe by the Holy Spirit, she brought this about. And the words, do you recognize these, are in the Hebrew, akir now, akir now. This word is the same exact language. There's many times in the Bible, and it's a language in the law used that you must recognize the firstborn. That's
Right.
one of them. But the big one, which is crazy, is when the brothers sent the coat, the bloody coat, they say the same thing, Dad. Do you recognize I
Recognize.
care now? Now she's using the same words. This had to convict him.
Yeah.
It had to
Yeah.
convict him. Do you recognize?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you recognize?
Mm.
Okay, but you did he's repenting. You can see he's repenting. She's more righteous. Okay, so read this verse 27.
Now, when it was time for her to give birth, behold, these were twins in her womb. While she was giving birth, one stuck out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread, tied it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." But as he was pulling his hand back, behold, his brother came out, and she said, "How you have broken through! The breach is because of you." And he named him Perez. Afterward, his brother, on whose hand was the scarlet thread, came out, and he named him Zerah.
So even though Perez is going to be, basically, you're going to see later that Perez is going to be a direct
Yeah,
descendant
yeah.
of David.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he is like both brothers are a picture of the harvest
Mm-hmm.
and Messiah. I mean, both of them, both of them. There's this red cord around Zerah. You study that red cord. I didn't do it in it, but if you look through that red cord, you will see it all throughout the Bible, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
picture of deliverance, and it actually points to the nations coming to the Lord.
Mm.
Rahab had
Yeah,
this red
that's
cord.
what,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's like so, and then, like I said, so both of them are a picture. Zerah, even the name means dawning,
Shine.
shining, a rising of light. It's
Mm.
Isaiah 63, arise, shine, for thy light
Mm.
come, Lord is risen up high. I mean, all those things. Zerach, to shoot forth beams, to rise. Okay, it's like to rise, to come forth. All these positive things
Mm.
of Messiah, And okay, even last week, remember we talked about Jacob's encounter with this angel, with this man, with God. All I think it's all the above. But this word is used about this rising. This
Mm.
Zerah is rising. The H2224, the Zerah, the rising, the shoot is in the story when
And he passed over Penuel, the
but
sun
so they
rose.
have the
Yeah.
fight that
Yeah.
he lets the angel go, and he goes to this to place Penel, the face of
Mm-hmm.
God, and there's this word about the rising. So you can
Right.
see there's something about light, And then if you look at Malachi 4, look at this word.
But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and you shall go forth.
So you cannot
Yeah.
say that Zerah is he was
No, he's
supposed
part
to
of
come
it.
out first, but
Yes.
he didn't come out first.
Yeah.
But remember, you can't recognize him because Paris came out first, even though
Right.
it looked like he was coming out first. So, but anyway, so Paris, to break forth, to breach, a
Mm-hmm.
breaker, like it's a break. It's
Yes.
a
Breaking
we got
forth.
it's a breaking forth, but we
Hallelujah.
also are in Isaiah 58 it says we prepare breaches.
Yeah.
This is what Messiah does. Those that were of Messiah, we restore, right? Restore
The
those breaches,
past, the
right?
dwelling. Yes.
That's the Paris anointing, if you will.
Mm.
The Amos 9 talking about the tabernacle of David. I'll repair the breaches. I mean, it's just
Yes.
like a parrots, okay, to break out. This is parrots is all about breakthrough. It's tied to the Euphrates River, the
Mm-hmm.
one of the rivers, Parat River. It's the same root words involved there. So
But don't you think too, like I've been thinking about Judah, you remember you start off with he went down and then he married a Canaanite woman, which okay, when you think about that, of course she wasn't converted to the God of Adonai. Of course she wasn't. And then these two sons are wicked.
hmm
So God really wouldn't let Tamar have those children.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy story,
Yeah.
but when
It's
you're
almost like she
saying
had to
this
have her own from her,
from Judah, oh, I'm sorry, it had to
yeah,
come from
from
Judah.
Judah and from her.
Yeah.
For
And
some
yes, for some
reason,
reason,
she
well, she's
had,
of the line of Shem,
which is the same line where,
where David is coming from, which
at,
Messiah is coming from. You can see how, and then when you're saying how when Perez, the restorer of the breach, what did Perez actually do for Judah? He
he
restored
restored the breach.
his breach between
God and
God
him.
and the covenant.
Okay. And
It's
then later, what
powerful.
you're saying through, like, it's almost prophetically through these children, he's going to be able to bring the healing
Yes.
between the brothers. Because remember, if you, then we won't get to it for another couple
Yeah.
Torah portions, but he's going to be the one that draws near to Joseph and speaks to, it's his idea to bring
Right.
reconciliation. He draws near to him.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's amazing. He comes close to Joseph. Anyway,
Oh,
it's
so
amazing.
cool.
So, this tells you basically about that parrots who he's part of David's lineage, right? He's
Yes.
got roots in that lineage. Okay, so
Mm.
we just close with this last part. There's this dream.
The dream of the
Joseph is put
cupbearer.
in prison.
Right.
Potiphar's wife lies on him, right?
Right.
He had this great job. Now he's like 12 or 13 years in this prison.
Mm.
There's a butler and a baker there. The butler gives his dream, the cupbearer, and beautiful dream, and he has a positive interpretation. So the baker says, "Well, let me give you my dream,"
Yeah.
but it was like total opposite.
Right.
In 3 days, you're hung on a tree. Um,
Mm.
but I thought it was interesting how you have now here a reference to hanging.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, and it's like going to be the same word, use it later in the Torah about the one who's hanged on a tree is
Mm.
cursed of God. It's like and
Mm.
I think like you can see it in Deuteronomy. You see so many. Okay, so it talks about these birds, on his head. There's very so it's like okay, it's very
The
Hebrew.
dream of the baker.
The
Yeah.
baker is very weird words that's used. It's like it says it's the Elyon. If you know Elyon on his head, Elyon is high or where we get most high from.
Mm.
Maseh is what is the works of God or works or some kind of work and Sal is this basket. You got all these weird like is there was something it's like and in the uttermost, the highest, the Elyon of this basket, there were all kind of so the word for baked meats, it's not even baked meats, it's works. There's these
Mm.
works on his head,
And
and
of
it's almost so
works.
it's like Yeshua on the
Mm.
cross, he's taking all
Yeah.
our works,
Yeah.
and all the deeds that we've done that were
Mm.
wrong, because in this, you
Yeah.
can look at in Genesis 40, you can see that it says that these guys sinned against Pharaoh. So somewhere their works weren't right before him. And
Right.
it's like
Right.
Yeshua on the cross, what's he dying for? He's dying for all our
Our
works and our
works.
filthy rags before. And it's
Right.
like, think about it. Anyway,
Yes.
and then the birds eat them out of this basket. So it's just weird language. I
Mm.
think there's prophetic things there that we can dig out even more, but just to have the word elyon, baked meats doesn't even mean baked meats in the Hebrew.
Mm.
It's you could look it up, you go look it up, you'll see it's not baked meats, it's actions, it's deeds, it's works. The basket, the word for basket means to lift. It's almost like you're lifting yourself up. But
Mm.
it's also all these things could point to Yeshua on the cross. He's lifted
Lift it
up for
up.
us.
Yeah.
He's taking upon,
Our
he
actions.
he did the good works. He did the right
Right.
works. He is the most high, if you will.
Hmm.
So all those kind of things were there. Anyway, I'll stop with that. But just to show you, you
Yeah.
cannot um, you
Well,
know,
the cupbearer, the two dreams, the cupbearer being restored back to Pharaoh also can represent Yeshua is going to be restored back to the Father, but he had
yeah,
to die
yes,
like the baker, and
yes,
then he is restored, right?
yes.
And
Well, that's the whole thing I can't even talk about because you got the other guy with the cup.
yeah, that's what,
Like,
yeah.
yes, exactly.
It's so
you
amazing
know,
how
and
you
Yeshua,
definitely,
even in the garden, we said, Lord,
Yeah.
if you can't take this cup from me.
Take
So
this
it's like,
cup from me.
but he's
Yeah.
going to be restored, like you
Yeah.
said. But he had to be. He's actually both of them. One,
He's both.
he's both. He had to die, and he was the.
Yeah, and he was restored
Yeah.
and resurrected.
But
Hallelujah.
I think
Great
there's
word
more stuff
tonight.
to that we can dig
Wow.
out. I'm just, like I said, even though I studied this all week long, I can't get into every
No,
single
I
thing.
know.
It's just too much and too rich. And that's
Right.
why we go over these portions every year. And every year it's to me it's all new.
It
To me
is.
it's new
It
every
is.
year. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the
Yeah.
recording.